So anyway, I'll open the floor to questions, preferably not shouted per se. You're more than welcome to come to the podium and ask formally if you'd like. Ha! That's what I thought. Oh, there we go. Oh, you're escaping, aren't you? Oh, you're not the question. Okay.
Is there any character from any comic book or games that you've ever seen or played that would be your ideal character to voice? If you have one that you could do at any of them?
I probably still have to default with Nightcrawler, man. My friend, you guys are familiar with Liam O'Brien? Very talented voice actor. He got to be the voice of Nightcrawler in X-Men Evolutions. And to this day, I will both be his fan and hate his guts. I didn't even know that. Like, I've known him for a while. I was IMDb, and I'm like, wait, you dick! You amazing dick! Let me never repeat that phrase again. Although I can see the Twitter thumbs now. But yeah, but Nightcrawler. Another question. The chat.
What are your thoughts on D&D Essentials?
Essentials? Essentials has some interesting options. I generally prefer not to use it. I mean, it's great introductory for new players who, when new players start a system, you're like, hey, welcome to D&D. That's cool. Here's 4th edition. Like, wait, what? It's a lot to take in. Essentials, I think, is a good way of giving people kind of the idea of D&D and give them a simplified way of doing character creation, character development, and showing them how to make a theme and a character. That's the main thing too. It's very easy to love the idea of a theme when you have just a lot of, here's a list of feats, here's a list of skills. It's hard for people to maintain that idea. So I think Essentials is a really good introductory way to get to 4th edition. But as a seasoned player, I generally just kind of push it aside and use the character builder on that. For those of you who play D&D and you don't have a membership, do they have that on here? Does Wizards have the? Yeah, it's an amazing service. It's like $10 a month, I think, and you have access to all of their all their software, like customized creatures and character sheets and DM tools and also and you have the Dungeon magazine PDFs they send out. And it's just really cool utility to have as a DM. And it's a player. And what's cool is for every time you sign up, or for that monthly payment, you can have 5 logins. So you and 4 players can all sign into that. I think it's something like that. I could be wrong. Probably wrong. I'm usually wrong. A few more tests. Anyway, so yeah. Another question? Well, there's a podium here if you want a question.
With the, obviously we've had a lot of comic book movies going on for about the last 10 years or something now.
Yes.
Are there any properties you'd really like to see get a motion picture, and are there any properties that you'd really like to see them leave alone?
Yes. I would like them to not do any more Green Lantern. Because that was really bad. And that's 2 reasons, and it leads into my other answer. I didn't like the Green Lantern movie because I felt that, number one, the heroic character wasn't heroic at all. And I love Ryan Reynolds, and I was just like, he's done everything to work with. And the same problem with the Fantastic Four movie was you had a main villain that was a big cloud. You're like, oh no, it's evil weather. It's hard to really designate that when you don't have a personality for the villain. And I'm a fan of like ominous doomsday type scenarios, but it wasn't sold to me. And you didn't feel for the character, which I feel, while I'm not a huge fan of Captain America in the comics, the movie did a really good job of setting him up as a hero, as a character you can actually like vibe for. Like, oh, I like this guy. I want to see him do well. I'm invested. Well, for the first half of the movie, anyway. But the other reason I hate it, leads to my other question, is the Green Lantern movie is also responsible for delaying and possibly ending the Deadpool movie, which is the movie I would like to see made. Because I read the first 30 pages of the script that leaked online, because I'm a bastard. And it's really funny and well written. And that was just like the first draft that went out. It was supposed to be Ryan Reynolds. Because Ryan Reynolds, and he was spearheading that himself. Like, he's a fan of Deadpool. And in the comics artists knew that he was a fan. They wrote it when one of the storylines, someone was commenting like you know, what is this Deadpool guy? It's like it's kind of like a cross between Ryan Reynolds and a Sharpay. Like that was one of the lines in the comics, and then he contacted Marvel after somebody sent that to him. He was like, "Oh shit, I love Deadpool. You put me in there. That's great." And so he started talking about it. He was spearheading the Deadpool movie, wanting to play Deadpool himself. And then they made him Deadpool in Wolverine Origins, and let's take a great character and remove the one thing that makes him good, his ability to talk. Good job, guys. Yeah, no, well that movie doesn't exist. Actually, no, I'm gonna amend that. Green Lantern and Wolverine. We need to stop with Wolverine. I love Wolverine as a character. Just let him go. They've overexposed him so much. I didn't want to know he was some sickly kid. James Howlett, really? No, he's Logan. He doesn't have his memories. He kills people. That's it. Done.
Hi. What was your favourite character that you've ever role-played?
Role-played? Ooh,
Not in bed.
Well, now I gotta think about it. I didn't DM more than play, because back when I was in high school and I played with the guys who were DM, they were just awful at it. And it drove me crazy. I was like, why am I even coming over to play this game when you guys are just terrible? And so I eventually gave up and started writing my own stories, and so I've been almost consistently DMing since then. My favorite character to roleplay as a player was my first 4th edition character, which is a dwarven fighter named Cabin Dreamthor. And he has lost one eye in a battle with an Umber Hulk, and then carved a second eye, a stone from its back that he has replaced it. So he has this like black kind of a Umbra stone in place of his eye. He likes to wink at guys that before he kills them, and he's just a right bastard. He has a really low charisma and no diplomacy skills, but likes to get in every single diplomatic discussion there is. Oh yeah, he's great. And everyone else is like, all right, so behind this door, where you hear a bunch of lizards gathering like in the paladin, and be like, all right, cool. So take a moment. I'll charge in. You go ahead and do a blanket there, and you hear the door. What? Gryffindor, no! He's like, exactly. And for the record, dwarves are the best race in 4th edition. I mean, seriously, minor action, second wind. They reduce their push and pull and slide moves by 1 square. I heard someone go, but that's fine. That's great. That's fine. Dwarves are awesome. You can go play your Dragonborn.
I will.
That's fine. For the record, if you read the player's handbook, if you go to all the different races, they have like a bullet points of what's cool about the race, right? And they're like, you should play an elf if you like, characters that are, kind of, affiliated with the wilderness and more, forest-based warrior combat. If you like using, blades and being a very elite race and all these things, dwarf like a very stout, hardy warrior who's stubborn in mind and eager to battle. Dragonborn looks like a dragon. That's the bullet point. To the point.
Do you know what looks like a dragon actually means? Is awesome. That's the bullet point, right?
It doesn't matter. None of them are kobolds.
Mine is a favorite dragon. Oh, he's so gay.
But after we saw that bullet point, the person who played a Dragonborn in our first game, whenever we enter battle, we'd make them roll to see how much like a dragon they look. Like, each point, what'd you get? 4. You kind of look like a dragon. Sort of. What'd you get? 20? You are a fucking dragon! So yeah. Grimthorn.
Sorry, can I you see a GM a lot. What's the favorite NPC you've written up?
Favorite NPC that I've written up? Ooh, in the current campaign I'm running now, there's an NPC that I don't play, that my other DM plays, called Brandis Fargazes III. He's part of this vigil. It's called the Vigil. It's kind of like this Illuminati group that oversees the world-threatening, epic-level threats to the world. And they only really gather every 100 years or so when something of that epic scope happens that they have to get themselves involved with. He's this very, very arrogant part of the work. Very arrogant human wizard who is just, he's not a bad man, but he's trying to do what's best for the world, no matter what it takes. And the players are in a kind of subservient position where they've unintentionally done a very bad thing, and as such, they're assigned to him, and he's kind of their caretaker, and so they're forced to deal with this proverbial dickbag of a wizard. They don't like him, he doesn't really like them, and one of the members of the party, they don't know which member yet, is what's called a fate touched. A person who just, wherever they go in life, they tend the threads of fate tend to just bend towards them, which is why they keep getting all these ridiculous situations. And Bran just wishes he was one. And so the fact that the more research they do, the players keep getting these ridiculous situations coming out on top, he's jealous of the fact that one of them is a fate toucher and he's not. And so he's becoming this very interesting, dark, pseudo-antagonist, protagonist at the same time character. So he's been really, really fun to write up and do. Unfortunately, I don't perform him. I perform Jeddah Wendellcrock, who is his teacher, who is this, he's very old and nice fellow, he's more than happy to just bring him in and give him some tea, some little biscuits if you're interested. Oh, please do sit down, more than happy to be of service. You know, that kind of thing. He's fun. We currently play with 2 DMs, yeah. It's fun. You should have come earlier, we talked about that.
I was getting coffee.
That's probably a better choice. Anyway, you back to the line.
Hi.
Hello.
Forgive the accent, I'm Irish. Anyway, I'm a lone nerd, right? I've had my share of funny looks, and people say, I confuse even other nerds. That's like renowned I am. Now, how does it feel whenever the people, teenagers and stuff like that, say, oh, I'm a nerd, and you think, what have I gone through the last couple of years?
I think it's, I will say, it's, I can't blame anybody for taking that. People, I mean, it can be turned around pretty easily, and I know there's a certain point where you feel like, you know, if you've gone through the trials and tribulations of being a geek, and being a nerd, that you've earned that title, and it's like, this is it. No, you don't know what it's like, man, I was in the trenches, you know. And exactly, you don't understand what it was like. Oh God, there were jocks more than I can see. Noogies, more noogies. You're tearing me apart these things. Oh my God, the room has reached the UK. There is no hope for the future when Tommy Wiseau has corrupted you as well. Welcome to the warm bosom of awful, awful filmmaking. But yeah, it. On some way, I had that kind of hipster like, oh, I was a nerd before it was cool. But at the same time too, you know, I identify myself as that when I was 13. You know, and while their experience may not be as long and as full of those experiences per se, it's still their path. And if they want to identify as that, because they feel like they connect, I can't blame them for that. You know, there are different tiers of nerds, of course. You know, there are people here that are really, really good and awesome to other genres. Like me, I don't get the whole yaoi thing. But I respect it from a distance. You know, we're both nerds. We just have different experiences, different likes, and I'm not going to judge somebody based on differences in that regard too. That to me makes it less of what the nerd culture is about, which is about being together, being inclusive, and not judging each other based on like, because we all have that common thread that we don't judge. I like to think.
And the rise of graphic novels generally as opposed to comics?
I love the rise of graphic novels personally. Nothing's worse than like reading a 26-page issue and you're like, but that's like, you just got good, I have to wait a month. Or a year in some cases. But Neil Gaiman's Sandman is a fantastic series. It's one of my favorite graphic novels ever written. Actually, I have a funny story. Years ago I got really, really into a band called the Dresden Dolls. Those are familiar with it. About 2004-ish, like the video for Corn Operated Boy had just come out. My brother DVR'd it, he's like, this is something Matt would like. And he shows it to me, I'm like, this is really cool, all right. And then I thought about it for the next 3 days and was like slowly obsessing over it and went and bought the album. And like, it had been probably a good 8 years since I really like went out and pioneered people to listen to an album. This one I took with me everywhere. I was like, my friends, sit down, I will make you listen. It's amazing. And they're like, all right, that's cool, man. I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's changed the world. And so I was doing this round, and so I took it to my friend Scott's house for game night. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a guy named Scott McCloud. Wrote Understanding Comics, Reinventing Comics, Zot, and I'm a I'm a good friend of him and his family. I did a lot of community theater with his wife, Ivy. And so I've been going to game night to his house for years and years and years. And so I went over there and showed him the Dresden Dolls album, and he was the first friend to go to it, and he was like, wow, this is really good. And so he played it for the whole family, and then started going to Dresden Dolls concerts with Scott and his family, his wife Ivy and his 2 kids, Winter and Sky. And so we all got really into the Dresden Dolls. Well, one of Scott's best friends and the godfather of his children is Neil Gaiman. He's known him for like 30 years. And so Scott goes ahead and goes like, hey Neil, you need to listen to this band, the Dresden Dolls. And he listens to it and goes, oh, that's really good. And so he contacts Amanda Palmer to start working together on collaborative art projects. And then they get engaged and get married. So in some weird roundabout way, I'm partially responsible for Neil Gaiman getting married. I'm the sort of any purpose in this universe, that's it. And I'm proud